All right, guys, good morning. A little early here than normal, but I'm gonna be on NinjaTrader for the first part of the day, so I wanted to make sure because I don't do a trade plan in there. I wanted to do one here for you guys, of course. And taking a look here at gold. Yesterday, we got that gold breakout above 42.50, but we just fell right back in. So, gonna continue to watch that here today as resistance. Once we get another close above that, I do think we could break out. In the overnight session, though, I just want to review some moves that actually happened. So huge move higher. As you guys saw, I was long in the room, and then there was this extension series. So once we made our low at around 240, there was this halfway back that blew into targets. We went aggressively into extensions here, and then that turned into a near. And then this is when we began same anchor new highs. This same anchor new high traded here, and then we actually completed that target on the high, sharply fell lower, took out this swing low, and then just began this series of shorts all night long. And that series of shorts has brought us into, and I'm currently long gold from this level again, uh, the full halfway back long for the week. So Tuesday's low to high, the midpoint of the prior day, the breakout area. I think this is really good structure. I wouldn't expect much unless we can really get above or get some volume and buying above 42.50. I still want to respect that as resistance. And you can see since we've come down to our support, it has been resistance. But that's what I have. And then also the full 50% retracement has to a break above that 42.59 is going to be key for really any continuation here to the upside in GC. And if we don't, maybe we do just come back here to the bottom of this range in GC. CL, I thought, was actually the best trade last night because it was something that we could predict in a sense, because it was, the rest of these markets kind of just fell out of their highs, and you had to be at the desk to trade them. There were still great markets to trade, but they weren't technically in short setups. The oil market was in a short setup, and I mentioned it yesterday. I actually had an order to sell 52.82, but I could tell with that post FOMC momentum at that time it wasn't going to be the trade, which can happen. You could still have that level, but you need to see some type of confirmation of downside moves, and then we got that. So on these highs, we kept making highs, we kept making highs all throughout here. Trend bars up began, right at FOMC, and we didn't get a trend till 350. Well, guess what? Once we got that trend bar down at 350, the high of the day was put in the overnight session. We rallied into a 50% retracement short from that level and then just got crushed all the way down to new lows. So that was, I thought, actually the best trade, despite the other indexes and stuff having some extreme volatility. So moving on to those, where we rallied all the way up to the midpoint. A couple of things we did that were interesting here in the ES. We came all the way back into, remember we talked about this extension, this lower extension trading from the 11/24 high, November 24th high. That is exactly what we came into. Okay. I talked about this was, I talked about these levels and how that needed to trade. Well, we just did it overnight. I don't know what the trigger of this was, or is it just stopping everybody out? But we held it. We held Perry's options levels, which we'll go over here later, later today, or actually in just like 20 or 30 minutes. But that is going to be important. If we do break that extension, we're going to be drawing the traditionals from the low of two. So just keep that in mind. But that high from that Monday, to that high, we traded the 38, and then new high, sweeping move lower, right into the 50, next traditional. That is the move. That is the move. And then I'm just going to draw this traditional off the open, okay? This low from 68.29 to high. I'd love to see us come down into that 68.51. That's what I'm going to be looking for first thing here in the morning in the ES. And then for the NASDAQ, couple things. Just watch if we do break down, which, is to be proven. Watch this 25th low, but once again, that same extension, okay, from the 24th to high. Literally talked about this in the boot camp lesson I did on Monday. Talked about this trade occurring. Sometimes it's not going to occur the time we want it to, but you know, I jumped to my desk. I didn't catch the long, but I did catch this short. Um, and then, you know, I was honestly just getting tired. It was a little past my extended hour session uh, presence, but you know, TR bar down, ATR reversal, and then traditionals basically out of that low. These were aggressively front run. You could argue that this was the first one, and then this was actually the second here. Okay, and then this is now moved into extensions. I'm just going to draw the traditional here from the 330 low to high. Okay, that's what I'm going to look for. Hopefully we can get it. I do think we'll probably have a pretty volatile open. 25,587 is going to be that level. And you can bet that it's wild, wild, wild horses. So that's what I got. And be on NinjaTrader till, let's see, 9, 10, till 11. And then I'll jump in the room. I'll drop you guys the link.